In both the Pfizer and Moderna study, participants were asked daily for the first 7 days after each injection whether they experienced a list of symptoms, and then for the remainder of the study, any negative events that occurred with the participants were documented. In this presentation, I am going to discuss the side effects, the adverse events, in 4 different categories that were reported by both Pfizer and Moderna. We'll start by talking about immediate adverse events that occur within the first 30 minutes after injection. Pfizer is the only study that reports on immediate pain, but it was a pretty small percent in both the vaccine and placebo group that reported pain with the injection. Another immediate adverse event that could happen is a severe allergic reaction requiring epi and/or hospitalization. In both the Pfizer and Moderna trials, there were 0 participants that experienced a severe allergic reaction. Since the vaccines have began to be administered outside of the trial, there have been 8 reports of anaphylaxis following vaccination out of over 1 million doses administered in this time. All 8 reactions occurred in the first 30 minutes after injection, and all patients were treated and are doing well. I want to put the 8 anaphylactic reactions into context. There have been anaphylactic reactions to many vaccines, showing a rate of anywhere from 1 out of 54,000 flu shots to 1 every million vaccines broadly. The CDC is actively monitoring anaphylactic reactions to the COVID vaccine, and they recommend that anyone who has had a severe allergic reaction to a vaccine in the past discuss this new COVID vaccine with their provider. The next set of reactions we'll talk about are local reactions that occur within the first 7 days after vaccination. So both Pfizer and Moderna found an increased incidence of injection site pain, redness, or swelling after the vaccine compared to the placebo. There are also systemic reactions that are seen within the first 7 days of vaccination. On first glance, it looks like a lot of people in Pfizer had these kind of symptoms. But when we compare it to the placebo, we see a lot of people report being tired or having a headache, which might not be related to the vaccine. We find the same thing with Moderna. While participants in both the placebo and vaccine group reported these symptoms, they were higher in the vaccine group that reported higher frequency of headaches, muscle pain, chills, joint pain, fever, and nausea and vomiting, although most participants described it as mild to moderate. These symptoms don't occur in everyone, but they are an expected reaction to COVID-19 vaccines in some people. They occur because vaccines contain antigens that, when injected into your body, stimulate your immune system. Basically, the vaccine is essentially teaching your body to identify and fight COVID-19. These same inflammatory reactions that your immune system goes through to build up this protection against COVID-19 also can lead to these physical symptoms. But it's important to note that you cannot get COVID-19 from the vaccine since it does not contain a live virus. Like I said, generally these symptoms are mild to moderate and last 1 or 2 days. So even if you experience them after your first dose, it's very important to continue with the series and get your second dose to make sure that you're truly protected against COVID-19. In both the Pfizer and Moderna trials, participants reported more symptoms after their second injection. This makes sense because although the 2 injections contain the same dose, when your immune system sees the same thing again a few weeks later, it thinks that the infection is back and quickly kicks into action. About 15% of participants who received the second dose of Moderna and about 5% of participants who received the second dose of Pfizer reported moderate symptoms interfering with daily activities. So you may want to be thoughtful when scheduling your second injection and plan for a time when you could relax the next day, just in case you're in that 5 to 15%. The studies report any serious negative events that happen while participants were in the study. So this could be things like appendicitis, pneumonia, and one participant in the Moderna trial was struck by lightning. But only a few of these events were determined by the FDA to be possibly related to the vaccine. These included a patient with a shoulder injury on the same arm as the vaccination, patients with swollen lymph nodes, one patient with a history of intractable nausea and vomiting who also experienced this after a dose of the vaccine, and 2 patients who had recently had dermal filler cosmetic injections in their lips had facial swelling. The researchers reported the number of deaths in both the vaccine and placebo group. These were reviewed and determined that all the deaths represented events that occur in the general population at the same rate and none were related to the vaccine. Interestingly, one patient in Moderna's trial who did not receive the vaccine did die of COVID-19. I hope this video helps you to understand some of the immediate, local, and systemic reactions that can occur after the COVID-19 vaccine, and even some of the serious adverse events that have been seen at very low numbers.